Hello everyone, my name is Andrew Jensen and I am the Audio Visual Specialist at GCFA. Today we are going to be starting this live video workshop series by talking about how to go live with equipment that you probably already own. This video is going to be geared towards beginners preparing to go live for the very first time. Over the course of these live videos, we will expand into more complex setups going forward. Now, if you have any questions during the workshop, please feel free to comment. You are already all over the comment section. That is wonderful. And I'll try to answer as many questions as I can while we go along. Or if you have a more in-depth question or need one-on-one assistance, please email us at ask@umcsupport.org so that we can follow up with you. I may not be able to keep up with the questions in the comments today, but have no fear. We will be monitoring the comments continually going forward and the emails we receive and work to include those in future events. As we go forward, it's important to remember that technology changes every day. So what I'm going to talk about is the process as of today. So the first step to going live is to select a streaming service. The reason that we start with selecting a service is that it can change the equipment that we use. For the purpose of this discussion, we're going to talk about three main platforms. And each of them have a different style of live video. Okay, so let's talk about Zoom meetings. The meeting style services are directed towards face-to-face live streaming. The meetings can be closed and require a password, or can be open and participants only need a link to join. When the participants join, they are prompted to share their camera and microphone from their device. While this style of program is most often used for actual business meetings, some smaller churches like using this type of service so that they can see their friends face to face. This type of service also allows documents and slides to be shared, such as Word files or PowerPoint presentations, which might be helpful for like a impromptu order of worship as you're working through these times that we're currently in. And also, it has a group chat function that is commonly used when churches use it for worship services. They use it for prayer concerns or just to say hi and check in. So some struggles or potential issues with using this type of service for a church service is not everyone feels comfortable sharing the camera or microphone on their computer. I prefer to be behind the camera myself, but and so since everyone in this type of meeting scenario is potentially sharing their microphone and camera, if participants are not tech savvy or fail to mute their microphone, this can be problematic. If, for instance, their dog starts barking while the pastor is delivering the message, there are ways to combat this problem, since the host of the meeting can also act as a moderator and can mute participants' microphones. But for larger groups, this still provides an extra layer of complexity. There are many options for this type of platform, but the most common is probably Zoom, since it will allow for free meetings up to 100 participants with a time limit of 40 minutes. And they do have paid plans available to expand on these limitations as needed. A note from Michael Holt: for Zoom, the organizer can turn the camera off by default and have participants join muted. And that's absolutely the case. I've found recently, I've been helping some smaller churches, and they wanted that, you know, everybody clicks on and they go, hey, it's good to see you, it's good to see you. And then a couple of people forget to hit the mute button after that time. And so then the impromptu service starts, and then you have a couple microphones that are open. So, but that's a very good point. You absolutely can turn off cameras and mute people's microphones as they join in. Thank you, Michael, for mentioning that. So before I go too far into this, are there any more? I'm not seeing. Oh, Zoom has suspended the time limit for the next 2 weeks. That's great information. Thank you, Colin. I know all of this stuff is changing so rapidly. Even as I was writing this and going through, there's a lot of companies that are offering free or expanded services to help churches out in this time, which is wonderful. So that's a great point. And Michael says you have to request the time limit to be lifted. It's not automatic. Okay, thank you. This is a great conversation, great community chat here. All right, I don't see any other, so I'm going to go ahead and keep moving forward. But if you have the question, please pop it in the comments section. And I'm working with Brennan. Everybody's working from home. I'm at home right now, so if you hear like my dogs bark or anything, bear with me here. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about Facebook Live. Now, I consider Facebook Live to be what I call a group style service. And what I mean by that is your church will have a Facebook page set up and you go live from that page. And anyone that wants to watch your live feed needs to have a Facebook account and find your church's page. So they have to be a member of Facebook to access that. Streaming on Facebook is not face-to-face like Zoom. It is one-directional live video, so like we're doing now. There's no option for any of you to share your cameras back to me in this format. It's one-directional. Now, Facebook obviously has a comment section where the presenter can interact with the viewers like we are doing today. There is a delay, so from the time that I speak to it gets converted and hits servers and gets to all of you to the time that you comment, it could be 20 or 30 seconds, and so I have to kind of loop back and talk about the questions that come in late, but it does allow for some nice interaction. One other benefit of using Facebook Live is that anyone that has liked and is following your page will be notified when you go live. So this helps remind people if they're surfing Facebook when you go live. It lets them know, hey, this is happening over here. Let's hop in and join. Facebook also has recently added screen sharing capability, which allows you to share your computer screen with your audience, which can be a useful feature. So non-Facebook users, yes, they're if the video is posted public, non-Facebook users can view the videos after the fact. You can stream from yeah, so we're talking, I see some stuff about OBS. Let's see, non-Facebook users can see it. Yeah, don't have to have a Facebook account. Yeah, all that's true. And so just as a rule, this is kind of the 101, but we can dive into OBS in future webinars if this is kind of the direction that churches are looking for some information. So next I'm going to talk about YouTube. So YouTube is the giant for video on the internet. At more than 2 billion users, that's with a B, almost a third of all users on the internet have an account. It's just where it's where people are going to get their video content. Screen sharing. Okay, screen sharing on Facebook. Yes. So when you select go live, I'm going to double back real quick to these questions. When you go live from Facebook, you just click go live. The camera option, the drop down, there is now a screen share option available in that drop down area. So one thing, and please give us feedback about what you want to see in the future videos, because one thing that we are looking at doing is listening to what you want us to go over in depth and then creating the video content specifically aimed towards that. Let's see. Yeah, so so Paige, I think the delay, you just go live and then you can share the screen. I think that's a really pretty new feature that they've added. Okay, so back to YouTube. 2 billion users. YouTube is by default just a one-directional service. This is from the originator to those viewers. But it does have a comment section similar to Facebook. So you can still have that delayed interaction through the comment section. Also similar to Facebook, people can subscribe to your channel and they'll be notified when you're going live. But a key difference is that viewers they don't have to have an account to view your live video. They just need a video link. So you can schedule to go live in the future. So I can schedule to go live on Sunday, and then I can create that link that will be the service on Sunday and send that out ahead of time, which is a really beneficial feature for churches to have. And for more advanced users, you can also embed the YouTube player into church websites. So let's see, let me just glance at the comments here before we go. How do you do a countdown screen before going live? So a countdown screen, how I would do it, what I'm doing today is I have a little video switcher that I'm able to fade back and forth between inputs. So you could have another computer that would just play that countdown video as a source, and then you could play the countdown and then fade into your camera. CCLI. So CCLI, I'm going to get to that here in a little bit, and we'll see if we answer that. If you want to pre-record a service, then present it live. Let's see. Present with live chat at service time. Is that possible? Yes, Tom. You can go live with a pre-recorded video. Now, the services try to kind of steer away from that because they're really focused on, they want you to be live when you go live. But there are devices, Blackmagic Designs makes a unit called a web presenter, which plugs into your computer via a USB port, and the computer just views it as a web camera. So it's not like some complex setup, and that has inputs that you could record into a player or a computer and play the service into that to go live. My audio occasionally, let me take the wireless pack out of my pocket. Maybe I'm causing issues there. Will the video be saved and viewable on your page? Yes, this video will be viewable, and I'm recording it so I can fix my boo-boo at the beginning when I hit the wrong microphone button here. Having trouble getting my camera from my computer to turn on Facebook Live. Okay, so shoot us an email at the ask@umcsupport.org, and that might be something that we can work directly with you to help get addressed. All right, so I am going to now talk a little bit about equipment. Now, I get a lot of questions about what the secret gear list that leads to success when live streaming. And the truth is there are many combinations of gear that work great. And it really depends on what you're trying to achieve and your comfort level with technology. Today, we're going to talk about how to use equipment that you probably already own. And then again, let us know what equipment you want to know about, and we'll take a look at that in the future. I've already done some research for future videos, trying to get my hands on some different options of streaming. And right now, a lot of devices are out of stock. A lot of churches that weren't necessarily doing live streaming or were doing it differently are now head over heels into it, since churches can't gather. And so a lot of that stuff's out of stock, but we'll take a look at all of that. And at GCFA, we're also going to be working on developing some live streaming equipment packages, just gear that we know, have used, have tested, and we know how it works and that it works, and that so that we can share those gear recommendations with you. So first, let's talk about cell phones and tablets. Today's cell phones and tablets are being built with remarkable cameras in them, but it's important to remember the limitations of using any technology so we can make sure that we use the technology appropriately. All of the streaming services that we've talked about have apps available for both Android and iPhones, the two most common platforms. But there are a few tricks to think about when using your camera on your mobile device. So here's some camera tips. First one, keep the camera steady. I always recommend that the use of a camera tripod whenever possible. There are some phone mounts available that screw onto any standard tripod and hold the phone. And in fact, I'll show you that right now. So this is a little unit, and this is actually not a great tripod. I don't recommend it. It's made to grab onto like a pole or something for time lapse. But so they have these little mounts. You just screw it on there, and then your phone just kind of clips into it. And so you can use the tripod that you already have and put this mount on there. Now, I know I said equipment that you probably already have, and some of you might not have that, and that's perfectly fine. But if you know that you're going to be doing like a long stationary video, you might consider using a laptop with a built-in camera instead of using your cell phone. Next tip is use the back camera whenever possible. The camera on the back of the phone is much higher quality than the forward-facing camera. So whenever possible, use the camera on the back of the phone. It might not always be an option. If you're working solo and don't have a camera operator, you know, you're going to use that. You're going to be looking right at the phone, and you need to see it so you can frame yourself up, make sure you're standing in it. But when possible, use the back camera. And the next tip is zoom with your feet. As a rule, cell phone cameras have a fixed lens, or if you have the new iPhone, it has like 3 fixed lenses. So when you zoom by pinching on the screen, you're actually blowing up the image digitally and making it pixelated and degrading the quality. So always try to leave it zoomed out, try and leave it set where it is, and use your feet to get closer or move further away. And lots of light. Light is your best friend, believe it or not, but you have to use it correctly. You may recall hearing like advertisements for low light capabilities of cameras or cell phones, and you may have noticed that the picture you took of your family on the beach on a bright sunny day looks nice and clear, but the picture you took of your dog asleep in the corner of the room in the evening is grainy and fuzzy because it was in low light. So most cameras want lots of light to take the best picture. So when you're recording a video, general rules are to try and find good light and face the light. Think of like an actor standing on a stage looking into the lights coming down on them. So try not to have any bright lights behind you because your computer and your phone are gonna see those lights and try to automatically adjust the brightness on the device through that. And then another tip, shoot horizontal landscape, not vertical. That is great, Larry. That is very, very true. Unless you're using, there are social media platforms that do vertical video, but if you're using like Facebook Live, YouTube Live, or WebEx, that's all going to be, it's best horizontal. And I saw a note on here, and I do have it in my script coming up, but YouTube has a limitation. You cannot go live from a mobile device unless you have 1,000 subscribers or more, which none of us probably do unless you're in a large church or have a established YouTube channel. And so that's actually going to be my segue into using computers. So let's see. Yes. All right. So I see a couple things talking about the next point, audio tips. So audio. So let's talk about the microphone. The built-in cell phone microphones are meant to pick up sound from all directions. This can be really useful when you're on a speakerphone call, but it means that background noise levels can be a real problem for video. To combat this, remember to always be as close to the phone as possible when speaking. Don't set the phone up and stand and then like move away from it. If possible, stand close for the best sound. There are microphones that you can purchase that plug into the headphone jack of your tablet or your mobile device. You know, obviously in iPhones, you're going to need adapters, and this is where it gets really hard to recommend specific things because there's so many options out there. But just to give you an example, I'm currently using a wireless microphone on my shirt, and I'm going to switch to my camera microphone, which isn't that far away from me. It's probably a foot outside of my reach, so about 4 feet away. So let's switch over. And so this is me talking from my camera microphone. So it's close enough that it sounds okay. If you didn't have to compare it against what I've been using, it'd probably be better sounding. But the key to it is trying to get a microphone that is close to the person. All right, and let's talk about using headphones. This is especially important for Zoom meetings, whether you're on Zoom on a laptop or Zoom on a cell phone. Always use headphones if you can. The other callers will appreciate it because the sound that's coming out of the speakers on your phone or on your laptop are getting picked up by the microphone, and it's causing a loop of feedback for other callers. Now, the software has really good like built-in cancellation for this, but it just always sounds better and is cleaner if you're able to use separate headphones and plug those in. And just a note that like on earbuds, a lot of the earbuds now, they have this little microphone that's a little down the line. I think most people are familiar with that. So just be aware of that. It can be great to have the microphone closer to you, but if you think you're using your laptop microphone, sometimes when you plug that in, it'll overtake the internal microphone on your device. And then security permissions. So the first time you use these or install these apps, there's going to be you have to allow access to the phone camera, to the microphone, and this is going to be true for your computers as well. And then this is where I was going to mention the YouTube subscriber threshold from a mobile device. That's 1,000 subscribers. So let's look at a couple things before I move on. What are the headphones for? Headphones, I would use them for Zoom calls specifically. Not so much for going live on Facebook or on YouTube, but for Zoom calls where you're hearing sound and speaking. Microphones plugs into what? It depends on the microphone you get. There's a lot of options, but I was specifically speaking to microphones that plug into your headphone jack on your mobile device. So they plug right into the phone and then give you that microphone. Yes, even Facebook groups for small group study, presenter needs to use earphones. Yes, John, live to Facebook. If I said Facebook, I misspoke. It's 1,000 subscribers to go live from a mobile device to YouTube. You can still go live from like an I/O box or from a computer. So, okay, let's take a look at, next up we're going to talk about laptop with a built-in camera. So the Zoom service that we talked about, the Zoom platform, has a downloadable application for Mac and PC. The rest of these services, including Zoom, also are accessible through a web browser. Now the app arguably gives you some more control over their Zoom meeting, but if you think about it as somebody just joining your Zoom meeting, they probably don't need all of the abilities that you need in that app, so they can just join it through a web browser with a link, versus you who's launching this or moderating this need a little more control. You probably want to download that application. And again, when you use these services for the first time, depending on your security settings, it's gonna ask you for permissions to use the microphone and camera on your computer. And of course, if you want to use the microphone and camera, you have to say yes, so it can have access to that. Next tip is use a wired connection whenever possible, a hard wired internet connection. Wi-Fi is great. There's a lot of the capabilities of Wi-Fi and the load of it, especially in the 5G, is great, but it's always a good idea to use a hardline internet connection when possible. And like I discussed, really the best practices that we discussed for cell phones and tablets, as far as get close to the camera, get close to the microphone, make sure the light's not behind you, light's in front of you, and more light is better. So those also apply here. Jeff Jacob is asking, what microphone am I using right now? So I am using a Sennheiser microphone. So we make professional videos, and this is pricey. This is not an entry-level unit by any means. It works great, but it's like, I think it's a little north of $700 for the microphone setup. So there are other options out there. In fact, if you want to shoot an email to ask@umcsupport.org and mention that, I think that this would be a good topic for future video for us, is to go over what are economical pieces of equipment that we recommend that we know work well. How do I practice so I can see what it sounds like? So it depends where you're talking about. In Zoom, there's actually practice calls you can make. There's sites that, like, it's like a fake meeting that's a test call. You can call into that and you're able to test your microphone, hear what it sounds like back to you, and also hear sound. So you can do that. As far as Facebook and YouTube, when you go live, you have the option, like we tested all of this, and we went we went live to my personal Facebook page privately, and so nobody else could see it. And then I added one of my coworkers from GCFA to be able to watch it and verify that everything sounded and looked okay. So that's how we did the practice for us. Okay. Yeah, YouTube ideas. Okay, so let's continue on here, and we'll have Q&A at the end, so keep those questions coming. And Brennan back at GCFA is watching them, and he's gonna let me know if there's something I missed here. Let's talk about copyright. So you will need a copyright license. I'm not going to dive deep into the legality issues of copyright, since GCFA already has a 4-part video series out on the subject by an expert, which I am not an expert on this. But I will share just a couple of tips from my experience to help get you launched. And then also we'll get Brennan, we'll get that link to that 4-part video series, and we'll get that posted in this. Okay, so let me pick up here. You will need a copyright license from a vendor such as CCLI or One License. This license does not mean that you can play any music you want. The music has to be approved on their music list. I know that CCLI talks about having over 300,000 songs on their list. One License boasts more than that. But you have to make sure, just because So the CCLI license is going to let you display the lyrics in church and let you record like an audio recording. If you do like a service for your shut-ins where you record the audio or video from your service, and you can't sell it, but you privately just offer it to them to watch, that requires CCLI. Just one quick hint before I move on. We talked about all these companies that are stepping up and offering free services in the current dilemma that we're all in. One License is one of those. Now, I'm not promoting One License. We don't have any special relationship with One License, and I've actually not used that service, but I do know that they're currently offering some licensing to churches for free for a time. I imagine it's one of those deals where you have to sign up and put your credit card in, and when you don't cancel in 90 days, they're going to bill you and all of that. I don't know. I can't speak to that. I haven't gone that far down, but it is, they are offering some form of licensing for free at this point. If you're going to live stream, you need a streaming license. This is an add-on to your copyright license. It's a separate license to then stream those as well. And they're going to ask questions like, how many people are you reaching, and so on. And then taking it a step further, there's a separate lyric license. This license is for displaying, if you're going to stream and put the text over the music as you stream, that's a separate license. It also covers some copywritten books and materials. So you might want to look into that. Neil Howard says, One License, no credit card required, and good until April 16th. That's great. That is wonderful. Thank you for that information. I do want to say, you might be thinking that your church can get away without obtaining a license. While I assure you that that is not a good idea, there are also some technical issues with this logic. Both Facebook and YouTube have detection algorithms that are listening for copywritten music being streamed. And if they even think that they hear something that is copywritten, they will either stop your feed and or cut the audio from your live feed. You'll then have to respond to a dispute. They'll say you were in violation. You have to respond to a dispute to get your full streaming capabilities back. Even if you have and obtain the licensing, you really need to reach out to these services ahead of time. They have a way to do this, to share that you have the proper licensing. And even then, I've heard stories where churches still get shut down again. And that's actually why the United Methodist Church currently uses the LiveStream service to stream general conferences. They've had issues with that in the past. And LiveStream, once you give them all the paperwork, they don't shut you down. And this is also why many churches use other streaming services that are specifically set up to handle the special needs of church live streaming. Unfortunately, these services require you to purchase additional gear, which is why I'm not going in depth about them today. I'm trying to cover things that you can do with what you already have. But if that's something you're interested in a future workshop, leave a comment, shoot us an email, and I'll be happy to do a workshop geared specifically towards these services. One point that I want to talk about, the church that I currently attend, before I got there, they did their whole setup, which is great, and they got a live streaming box from one of these services, and this is how simple it is. It has an HDMI input that has both your video and your audio on it. You plug your camera in, and when you want to go live on Sunday morning, you power the box on about 30 seconds before you want to go live, and it automatically starts the stream. And then when the service is over, you power it off, and that cuts the stream, and it posts automatically. So now there is like a monthly cost, because what you're actually doing is streaming to them, and then they're redistributing that stream to your accounts, your your Facebook, your YouTube accounts. So there is additional cost in that. But the ease of use is, for a lot of churches, worth that cost if they can afford that. So Paige asked if LiveStream is the name of a streaming service. Yes, LiveStream is the name of a live streaming service. Small churches, is it better just not to have music? So what I'm going over today, I just wanted to mention, like, I really viewed this as how to get your pastor's message out to the parishioners, because, sorry, people are mowing outside, so kind of working from home, I don't have control of these things. Yeah, I was really focusing on like sermons, and it does get much more complicated when you start talking about music, because you start talking about other gear. How do you interface a whole sound system into the feed using an audio mixer? So we need to, that might be a great topic for us to discuss in a future video. And so I want to open up for some Q&A. So let me try and, if you do Zoom by invitation and you aren't playing the music but singing, do you need the license? This is where I'm not an expert. I'm going to say yes, because you're still streaming. It's still copywritten material that you're performing. Even though if it was me singing it, you wouldn't want to hear that performance, it still would be a performance. So I'm going to say yes, but I would direct you to that 4-part video series that GCFA has out. There you go. Just posted. Copyright law, YouTube playlist link. Outstanding. Can I share the link to purchase the box? Yes, we will. We'll look at, there's a couple services out there. So I want to do some research. I don't want to seem like I'm endorsing any specific service just because I know one specific brand. I will say this name though. There's a service called churchstreaming.tv that offers the boxes I'm talking about, and also is doing like a free option for their services right now, dealing with COVID-19. So Kay says, I've heard him saying, he's not kidding. Kay knows me well. That's true. Yes. Do you need a license if you're singing a cappella? Yes. It's really about the intellectual property. So the people that created that music, your pastor preaching on Sunday morning is collecting a paycheck. So the people that created the music that's a part of your service on Sunday morning are needing to collect money as well. And that mower is getting closer now. So don't worry, I don't have a big yard. Just hang in there and bear with me, this working from home. Lots of equipment for in sanctuary doesn't work at home. Yes, that's true. Very true. Tammy's talking about public domain. Yes, that's true. After a certain age, things do time out and become public domain. Explain how you were able to have graphics during this live broadcast. Absolutely. So I have I should have set up another little like side view camera to see my messy bonus room. I have a laptop set up over here running PowerPoint, and I have that plugged into a little video switcher that I have here. And the video switcher also has audio inputs, and I will endorse this unit. I bought this unit. It's called the Blackmagic Design ATEM Mini. It's a little video switcher. It's like $300 or less. It's pretty amazing in its capabilities for the price point. I highly recommend this unit. So I can, cut video live. I can do picture-in-picture. It's really an amazing unit. It also has a USB out on it that you can plug into a computer, and your computer will view it as a camera, and so you can live stream directly from that. You don't have to go into anything else. That into the computer, I should say. There's not like an encoder box. It goes that into the computer. And then you can select that as your camera in Facebook or YouTube, or run OBS. I think computer solutions is going to be another topic for another day, because it's very taxing on computer. So you need a fairly robust computer if you're going to do that. Please post the name of, yes, okay, we will absolutely do that. The switcher, this one it's made by Blackmagic Design, and it's called ATEM Mini. ATEM Mini. Is the rolling comment section unique to Facebook Live? YouTube has something similar, but I personally like Facebook's comment section better. Camera from your computer or from your phone? I'm sorry, Joy, I don't understand exactly what you're asking there. Hey, Jerry. We will post a document. I typed all this up. I'm sure you could tell that I was reading it from a little screen I have. We will absolutely post some documentation that has all of this in it, including we're going to really focus on posting, like I said, video equipment packages. And that's going to include things like this video switcher that I'm recommending, PTZ cameras, all kinds of different, we're going to do different setups for different levels. You know, what are you looking for? Are you looking entry level? Are you looking turnkey? Do you want something you just click on, click off? Okay. Today I am using a Lumix camera, just coming HDMI out into that switcher. So just a little Lumix point and shoot camera. Can I record video from my webcam? Yes, you can. There are different programs for recording videos right from your computer web camera. And you can even record, here's something, a little tip for you. I know we're focused on live videos today, but just since you asked, in YouTube, you could record a video using your web camera on your laptop and then and go live privately. And then you can, but YouTube also has an edit function. You can do some video editing in there as well. So, is there any platform that allows you to do live streaming from 2 different locations? You mean from like 2 different, I need a little clarification there. Do you mean from 2 different physical locations, or do you mean live streaming to 2 destinations? I think this was a question all the way at the beginning, before we even started, while we had the slide up. There was a question about going to multiple platforms, and there's computer programs. If you're using a computer to live stream, OBS is a free version. Wirecast is a paid program. They both have capabilities for multiple destinations for you to stream to. And then also there's hardware pieces out there that let you stream to multiple destinations simultaneously. So just be clear, YouTube Live has a minimum. Okay, Michael, no, you can absolutely use YouTube Live from a computer with 0 subscribers. You have to have 1,000 or more subscribers to be able to go live from a mobile device like a tablet or a cell phone that has cell reception. Presenting to 2 separate Facebook accounts. Okay. Probably best to have them linked to my personal. Yeah, you could do that. You could stream to your personal page and then have them share that to their pages. That's an option. When have to display licenses? So CCLA licensing numbers have to be displayed. Again, I don't want to give you bad information, but they do have to be displayed during the song. Normally, most churches will just put like a final slide with the CCLI name, artist information, and then let that ride out the last little bit of the song. So it's easy to go from cell phone to OBS to YouTube without 1,000. That's great, Kathy. I'll be honest, I don't have a lot of experience with OBS. So if this is a topic, we might bring in somebody else and the two of us sit down and kind of chat about the capabilities there. I know there's equipment, like I said, is constantly changing. There's all these new options out there. So the two account votes. Okay. All right. I am not seeing any new questions. So please feel free to keep commenting. And like I said, we're going to continue to watch these comments and use this to create our content for our future workshops. So we'll let you know and when we're going to do that. And we really appreciate you tuning in for this. So just again, let's talk about the email, ask@umcsupport.org. So if you have something that I didn't get to answer today, or if you have a more complex question or need some one-on-one help, email us at ask@umcsupport.org, and we will be happy. We'll be happy to reach out to you and help you with that. And I just want to say one last thing. Thank you for participating in our first of several Workshop Wednesdays, and for your grace as I'm working through doing this from home with kind of makeshift equipment. You all are in our thoughts and prayers from the staff at GCFA. Thank you for the important ministry that you are doing, and please let us know how we can assist you in that good work. I know this is a hard time for everyone, and we really are trying to focus on helping empower local churches in this difficult time. So please feel free to reach out to me personally or that ask email address and let us know what we can do to best serve you. So it's been 50 minutes, so I'm going to wrap this up. But keep those comments coming, keep those emails coming, and we will see you next time. Thanks.